Earlier, Dick Pryor spoke with eCapitol News Director Sean Ashley about the primary election and how races for the legislature are shaping up.
Sean, the primary election is on June 24th, and already a lot of legislative races have been decided.
That's right. All 101 seats up for election in the House this year. 50 have already been settled. Another 14 will be determined in the primary and the primary runoff in June and August. And then only 37 will go to the general election in November. Over on the Senate side, there are 25 seats up for election this year. 8 have already been settled. 4 will be determined by the primary or the primary runoff. And then only 13 of those will see the general election in November.
Why do you think that's happening?
A number of different factors come into play. Oftentimes you have very strong incumbents who are holding the seat. In other instances, it's simply that people are happy with what their member is doing, and therefore no one chooses to challenge them.
And there are members that are looking to leave their chambers but not leave government service.
That's exactly right. In fact, we have 4 House members who are seeking election to the Senate. Representative Curtis McDaniel, Representative Jason Smalley, Representative Kay Floyd, and Representative Anastasia Pittman. Representative Marty Quinn has actually already been elected to the state Senate in a manner of speaking, as he filed for the Senate District 2 seat that's being vacated by Sean Burridge and did not draw an opponent. As a result, he will take that seat later this year.
And there are 3 former legislators who are trying to get back into the legislature after leaving.
That's exactly right. You would think after several legislative sessions they would have had enough, but in this case we have 3 members who are trying to come back. Former Representatives Kelvin Calvi and George Fott, both who left the House of Representatives to run for Congress, are seeking re-elections to the legislature, to their old House seats in fact. And former Senator Greg Childers, who was the victim of redistricting several years ago, is seeking election in the Senate District 42 seat.
That is an odd seat, Greg Childers' seat, the one that he had for a while and now he's wanting to regain.
Yeah, that's a very strange situation. He was elected to fill an unexpired term and serve for 1 legislative session, during which his district was redistricted. As a result, he was no longer eligible to run and had to wait in order to seek re-election in an entirely new seat.
Just this last week, Eric Cantor lost his race in a primary, the Republican primary, in Virginia, which sent out a lot of warning signals to candidates, to incumbents, that anything can happen. And there are some incumbents this year, many incumbents actually, that are facing primary challenges in Oklahoma.
That's exactly right. And let's not forget, only a few years ago, that we saw U.S. Congressman John Sullivan from Oklahoma lose in the primary. So that can happen here. What we have are 13 incumbents in the state legislature, most in the House, who are facing challenges from within their own party. In fact, a number of these races will be decided in the primary election. So if those incumbents were those incumbents very well could lose in the primary, much as Eric Cantor did. We only have 1 Democrat, Representative Mike Shelton, who faces a challenge from someone from within his own party. The remainder are Republicans. Shelton also faces a Republican in the general election, and 3 of the Republicans who face primary challenge, incumbent Republicans who face primary challenges, also face Democrats in the general election in November.
But still, it's an uphill battle for those challengers because they have to make the case that the incumbent should be fired.
That's exactly true. And in a number of these cases, they're challenging well-established Republican members. Senate President Pro Tem Brian Bingman faces a challenge, and he, of course, has been named Pro Tem designate for the upcoming legislative session. So that's a pretty big hill to climb. We also have individuals like Representative Weldon Watson, who has challenged the House Republican caucus, who faces a primary challenge. And there are a list of others who are facing similar challenges, but who are well established, probably have significant campaign funds, and will be tough to beat. But like we saw in Virginia and like we've seen in Oklahoma, campaign funds don't necessarily matter. It's what you do out on the campaign trail.
And that will make it interesting on June 24th. You'll be with us
Exactly.
for election coverage that night, and you'll be with us next week on O&R. Sean Ashley, eCapitol News Director, thank you.
You're very welcome.